Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So I don't think I've ever done a show about dogs before, even though you've heard about our wonderful little Snowy 2 and our Snowy 1, and you've seen lots of pictures in Boomer Times, but I have something so special to talk to you about. I have two beautiful women in my studio, but more than that, I have the cutest little Yorkie you'd ever want to see, and you will see some pictures as we go further with Boomer Times, but I want to introduce Kit DeROCHE and Linda WORSHAM. Good morning.
Good morning.
You just couldn't ever not have a smile on your face with the dogs that you have. I mean, I just don't think you could ever be sad except if one of the dog dies.
Yes, but in rescue, there are many days when we're sad when they arrive because many of them are really in bad shape. So
let me just tell you that Kit DeROCHE is founder of the Florida Yorkie Rescue, along with Linda WORSHAM, who's the member of the board of directors of the Florida Yorkie Rescue, and they're here to raise money for the Yorkie House of Hearts. And I'm going to have you talk about what your dream is, Kit, and then we'll let Linda, your sidekick, the two of you are like glued at the hip, I know.
we are.
So tell us how this all started.
I've been in rescue for almost 10 years now, and unfortunately, we're finding more and more senior dogs, Yorkies, are being surrendered in their senior years, and that could be 8, 9, 12, 14. We just took in a dog a couple of months ago that was surrendered at the age of 16 years old. And it's heartbreaking because the general public who is looking to adopt or to rescue a dog, they want puppies or dogs that are very young. And it's very difficult to find homes for the seniors. So when we take them in, because we don't want to turn our backs on any little Yorkie that needs us, more often than not, they become permanent fosters. And then they take up a spot in our foster homes where a younger dog could be, and then that dog could be adopted very quickly. So we can't continue to fill up our foster homes with the seniors, but we can't not take them because we're afraid of what will happen to them. Many of them end up in humane societies or animal control. Many of them are found as strays. People just dump them because they're old and they've served their purpose. They're just not interested in keeping them anymore, or they're sick.
You know, I have to interrupt you because as you're talking, you don't know this, I'm a gerontologist, and I deal with the older population. That's what I've done for many years. And I'm hearing this because you hear this from the children of the adults. You hear this from, the boomers of their parents. Mm-hmm. You know, what are we going to do with them? And so I'm really relating these two things as you're talking. You just forget that word dog and put in the word senior.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate. It's very interesting that you should call these senior dogs. Yeah. This is a perfect thing for me. So Linda, you're shaking your head on this. Doesn't that, you listening? And, well, my mother doesn't hear well. She has Alzheimer's, and what am I going to do with her?
Oh, I hear that all the time. I am a boomer, and I have a mother that's 94. I'm sorry, Joe's mother's 94. My mother's 89 going on 40, still lives by herself, but so many aren't that lucky. And I hear from Joe's mother's caretaker every day, your mothers are so lucky because you can't even imagine what goes on out there because a lot of children are merely warehousing their parents.
It's just what we were talking about. But now moving back to the dogs, I have believed, and you know that in many of the adult communities that are that are whether they're nursing homes or they're ALFs or where they have older adults, they always have pets. And yes. It's very smart. Years they couldn't allow it.
Yes.
Now there's a pet, at least one.
Great? Yeah, it's great.
And it's because when an older adult touches a pet and feels a pet, it's like magic for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that there are people in their 60s I mean, I'm sure there are young people who want dogs, but I'm going to address this to a lot of my listeners. You're in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. Get a dog, and get a dog that needs you, because you need it. If you don't think you do, you do. It will give you a lot more years.
It will. It lowers blood pressure. It alleviates depression. A lot of seniors that live alone are lonely, and when you rescue a dog at that age, oftentimes the dog has rescued you.
I love that. Now, that's a very good motto.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, the one thing I think you have to tell everybody is how many dogs you have, and then you can also say how many dogs you have, Linda, because this is like a little wild.
Well, all of the dogs that I currently have in my home are not my own personal dogs. Many of them are up for adoption. So I probably have maybe 10 or 12 right now. But, that's just a small little sampling of Yorkie love. When we get involved in puppy mill busts or helping out a breeder who cannot handle the amount of dogs she has anymore and calls us for help, maybe 2 Christmases ago, a week before the holidays, we got a couple of emergencies that came in. And I think at the end of the day, it was 2 days before Christmas, and I think I had 27 dogs in the house. And that was my Christmas gift to my husband, and that was my husband's Christmas gift to me. And a lot of the dogs were wild, and they were terrified, and they were frightened because they came from deplorable conditions. And we got them all bathed and groomed and fed and settled, and it was just a really special holiday for us because they were happy, they were warm, their bellies were full. And I said, it's okay that my house is turned into a kennel. It's only temporary.
That's lovely. That's a beautiful story. So, Linda, how did you find Kit?
Well, I moved to Florida from Indiana, and I'd been here about 3 years. And I'd always been in animal rescue. I'm 40-plus years in animal rescue. Many nonprofit boards I've served on. And we got the houses in order. And everybody was situated. And I couldn't stand it anymore. I had to get back into rescue. It's in my DNA. I can't live without it. I just had to have it. And I said to Joe, I've got to get back into rescue in some fashion. I don't know how. I don't know where. And I really looked at so many nonprofits that deal with animals. And I came across Florida Yorkie because, of course, I have a Yorkie. And I found Kit's organization. And I really am, again, picky. And I read every word on that website. And I just knew, because of all of my experience, that this woman just got it. And I put in my application to volunteer. I'd never done that with any of these others. I would actually go to some of these, rescues that had facilities, and I would go in just to see how they reacted. And they just weren't stellar enough for me. Not for me, maybe for somebody else, but I was looking for first class. And I called Kit, and she almost immediately called me back. And as I recall, I was en route somewhere, and we had a very good conversation. And then she gathered some of the troops together, and we had a luncheon, and it's been a beautiful thing ever since.
And you have how many dogs?
6.
And are they yours, or are they for adoption?
This is my pack of 6. On occasion, you will find me fostering 1 or 2, but don't have any fosters right now. I have 6, 4 Yorkies, a standard poodle, and a toy poodle.
Well, I have to ask you ladies something. I don't think I could foster something because I would want it. See, when I first took the dog, they said, well, we're going to let you foster. I said, what do you mean foster it? I want the dog. No, we're going to let you foster it for a week or 2. I said, why? Why can't I have the dog? And then the lady who found it said, don't worry about it, because I didn't want to lose it. She said,
right.
We'll get that taken care of. It's your dog. I said, okay. So now let's say you foster another dog and another dog. Once it's in your, and I'm talking the churches. I'm the pastor talking to the chorus here, because Once you find one and you love it, how do you get rid of it?
It is difficult. You have to kind of set your mind at the fact that the dog that you're caring for currently is not your dog. You're just babysitting the dog. Most of our foster families, our foster moms, have, we call them foster failures. They have had a failure here and there where they fostered a dog for so long that they have said, listen, there's no way this dog is leaving my house. I'm done. I'm in love.
Right.
I will barricade myself indoors. You're not taking the dog.
I love that.
So, we've had one family that has had 2 foster failures. We've had one that has had 3 foster failures.
It's a great name.
Linda has 2 permanent fosters, the seniors that she's caring for now. They are permanently with her. But, there are foster moms that do realize that they will surrender the dog to a new owner when we find one. And over the years, it has gotten easier for me because if I keep them all, I will, have 100 Yorkies in the house. I mean, I just can't do it. So you have to just keep moving them on. If you keep them all, then you're out of rescue.
So then you really have an attitude, well, someone is going to give us wonderful home, so I'm going to let the baby go.
But let me tell you, we are picky about who gets our dogs. Mm-hmm. We do a home visit. We do a telephone interview. We call their vets. We call their groomers. We call their references. And if something doesn't look right,
we do background checks if we have to make sure.
I love this.
We do, because many of our dogs have been through such horrific histories. Or maybe not. Maybe they're okay, but they've been bounced around a lot. Yeah. And it's important for us to place a dog where it's going to be, its last destination, forever.
Right.
And if for some reason a family gets sick or something happens and they can't keep the dog anymore in the contract that they signed, that dog comes back to Florida Yorkie Rescue.
Fabulous. So
even if the dog is 15 and they got the dog when it was a puppy, we will always take our dogs back.
I love this. So do you have like a party once a year for all the dogs?
Well,
when the house is built.
Our fundraisers are our
parties.
Yeah.
I did want to address what you were talking about with regard to the fosters. The fosters play an active role in the selection process for an adopter. So they really are a part of it, which empowers them to a certain degree to have a better mindset about, sending the dog forward.
And they know the dog better than a non-foster parent because they are living with the dog 24/7.
Yeah, because I take the position of the dog.
Right.
And I'm thinking about, what do you mean you're going to send me off to those people? I'm with you. Don't do that. I know.
Well, Kit has a really cute story about that, and it is true. I can't remember which dog it was. I think it was Tulip that you sheltered for so long that lost an eye, and finally you found the perfect home. But you said, I thought that dog would leave here and cry for me.
Oh,
I stayed up at night with this dog and she
nursed
said,
it back to health and just prayed over that dog and just held on to that dog. I just love that dog. And then maybe after it was adopted a month later, I ran into the lady who adopted and I said, oh, I'm going to see Tulip.
Didn't even know
and
you.
And she looked at me like... Right. I was yesterday's news. She didn't know who I was. She could care less. I mean, even little Lulu that's sitting here. I saved that dog's life. Do you think she'll even look at me today?
No. Okay. Well, that's great. I see that. Okay. Yeah. I remember I had a cat. My husband and I had 2 little Siamese cats that we raised as a teeny puppies. Had them for 12 years, and the doctor told me, only way you're going to get rid of your asthma is get rid of your cats.
Oh.
And so we found somebody that was spectacular. That took the cats, but then we had a little black one too, and that black one was fantastic. So I felt the same way, and I went to visit. The cat didn't even know I existed.
Yeah.
So that's a good part.
But it's a good sign.
It's a good part.
It's a good sign because if they are so happy where they are, they shouldn't want anything to do with you.
No, exactly. Yeah, and it's you said something very important. A lot of things that were important, but I know that my dog, my little Maltese Snowy, I don't think she was abused like we know about abuse, but there was something there because sometimes, because we're so close, I'll go up to her and she jumps because something may have happened. And so
She could have been from a family with children,
Yeah,
and the little kids
exactly.
were running around, and she was always being startled.
you don't know. So it's
don't.
better. That's right. So it's very good to have a dog that, has found peace, and that's beautiful. So let's raise some money, or what do we need to raise to make this happen? Help me.
Well, Florida Yorkie Rescue decided that because of this epidemic dumping of senior dogs, for whatever reason, we're not here to judge, but we want to take them because too many of them are being euthanized at animal controls. So we said, you know what? We're not going to be able to solve the problem unless we come up with a grand idea. And the grand idea is we are going to create the first senior Yorkie sanctuary in the state of Florida. And what we will do, we've named it, it's Yorkie House of Hearts. And
It's a great name.
And it is part of Florida Yorkie Rescue. We are both, Florida Yorkie Rescue is the parent nonprofit for Yorkie House of Hearts, which is also 501c3. And we are going to try to find a big house with maybe a 2 or 3 car garage in the back that we can convert, and other outbuildings. We're looking for maybe a 5-acre piece of property in Palm City, Florida, and that's zoned properly. And we are going to have a compound, and we will run our rescue from this facility, and we will keep our Yorkies in the seniors. Also, the other thing that a lot of senior citizens don't realize or worry about really is what will happen to their dogs when they pass.
Good point. That's right.
The children don't want the dogs.
Don't. That's very interesting. So you would then have a way for someone then,
if a senior has a
to
Yorkie
leave their
or a
dog
Maltese,
to you.
yes, and they're worried about what will happen, they can create a pet trust with their attorney. Now, you can't just leave your dog in your will. You have to create a pet trust. Mm-hmm. So talk to your attorney about that. It's very important. A pet trust is a legal document, and if someone wants to leave their pet or their Yorkie or their Maltese to Yorkie House of Hearts, they can create a pet trust. And we'll sit down and discuss with them what happens to their pet. If it's a young pet, then they can discuss whether they want us to find a new home for the dog. If it's not, and it's a senior dog, then they may want to let us keep the dog for the entire rest of the dog's life. And so that's what Yorkie House will do, and hopefully we'll get that off the ground. The other thing is we have a program called Seniors for Seniors, because not only do we want to help the senior Yorkies, we want to help the senior citizens. So there's a lot of senior citizens now that are in hospice care, that are having cancer treatments, and the first thing that they realize is they can no longer care for their dogs. And the kids say, Mom, I'm going to find a good home for the Yorkie. We don't want the parent, we don't want the senior citizen to lose their dog. It helps them heal. It helps them live. It gives them a purpose to stay.
Absolutely.
So what we will do is our Seniors for Seniors program in our general community, we will reach out to the individuals who are undergoing hospice care or cancer treatments, and we will make sure that their dogs are cared for, that their dogs are groomed, that their dogs are going to the vet, that whatever their dog needs, it has while they heal. We will also create a situation where if there's a senior citizen and they're not sick, they just need a hand up, not a hand out, they just need a hand up, we'll be there. We'll make sure that we'll stop by or we'll call them. Has your dog been fed? Do you have dog food? Those kinds of things. We want to really help the senior citizens keep their dogs.
This is great. Well, Linda, I wish everyone could see this. Linda's sitting with this Lulu, who is a precious dog. You said I think she weighs 3.5 pounds or something.
3.5, yes.
3.5 pounds, and she is the most. She's gorgeous. She's all decorated out, but I think people ought to hear the story because it's a sad story, but it has a good ending. It's you. She has you. So tell us about how she came about, and it's symbolic of a lot of the dogs.
Well, Kit saved her to begin with, and I happened to be in North Carolina at our cabin at the time, and Kit's brilliant at video making, and I was sitting at my cabin and scrolling through everything, of course, on a daily basis. I'm married to Florida Yorkie Rescue. So I saw Kit sitting on the floor. I think you were actually at the veterinarian's office.
I was. Uh-huh.
And she had serious tracheal bronchitis and many other
The
things.
dog.
But the dog, yeah. But I don't think they knew at that time the extent, of her situation. But this dog was almost dead. I do believe she was on her way out. And Kit was consoling her. Kit had her in the lap, and I was bawling my eyes out in North Carolina looking at this dog. And in my heart, I just knew that was my dog. But I was in North Carolina, and I came back, and she did survive. She was, in a nebulizer for a while. She was in isolation for a while, and she got to the point where they thought she was going to be okay, but she needed a foster. So I volunteered to do that, and she just never left my side.
She's in Linda's arms, and
she's what I call a project dog. She is deaf. She has the very, 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 very serious collapsing trachea. She's in the early stages of congestive heart failure. Her back end doesn't work so well with the luxating patellas. She might have a little bit of dementia going on there, but she is a pistol. She's fiery, and she rules the roost, as they say. So I want everybody, Kit says this all the time, and I know we just keep, preaching this, but these dogs enhance our lives. I don't know why everyone has there's a stigma
about what?
Getting an older dog.
I
and you
that.
know
Funny.
this
Yeah,
because you adopted an older dog.
I did. The first one was older. The first one was 4 years, but I never even thought about it. It's funny, when this dog came along, I did not, that didn't even come into my brain.
You didn't see her age, you just saw her.
No, I just saw her. No, there was no discussion. I mean, it's like, okay, well, how old is she? And that's just part of the whole thing. No, and to me, she's just like a lot of us who are older. She's just like a kid. She's little. She runs around. She's a little crazy, She has so much fun. So she doesn't act like she's a real old dog, but I'm prepared to do that. Now, in the area where I live in Boynton Beach, it's on the lake, and a lot of people have old dogs, and they're 14, they're 15, and some have problems where they actually have to put them in a carriage to walk around. Mm-hmm. But they're wonderful. I mean, I just don't see it as a problem.
And it's important to point out here that not every senior dog that we get in that's 8 or 9 or 10 has the challenges that Lulu has. Lulu, is a special dog. She has a lot of medical problems, but we get a lot of healthy senior dogs in that don't have any issues. They're not on any medication.
Yeah, my dog, I think she now has dry eyes, and I put in the drops in twice a day, but that's play games. That's nothing.
Exactly.
I want to make sure I give a phone number. If you would please call 772-291-8101. Everyone, remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. We want you to consider fostering a Yorkie or a Maltese or one of those darling little dogs. Your life will never be better and never be the same. It's a wonderful thing to do. 772-291-8101. And let's give you also a website, because I know that I have seen miraculous things on your website. I saw babies being born, little Yorkies. I've never seen that. That was pretty interesting. But you can go to YorkieHouseOfHearts.org or FloridaYorkieRescue.org. And this is an amazing group of people. These two women that's their life, and they're dedicated, and these dogs are really lucky. Well, we're all lucky to have you, because I couldn't even talk about some little dog being put out, as they say, because they just didn't have a home. That's not fair.
No,
it's not right.
Just a couple of days ago, we got Sam, a senior poodle that was left. Someone tied him to a fence behind an apartment complex in a deserted area, and
in the heat,
and left him to die. And we got him on Sunday. He is emaciated. When he arrived, we didn't really think he was going to live. But if people go to FloridaYorkieRescue.org or .com, we have them both, they can read up about Sam.
And I saw.
Pardon?
I did see a picture.
Yeah, and he is hanging on. He's hanging on, and his medical care is going to be extensive. But when a dog's need isn't an emergency, we don't care if it's a poodle or a Yorkie or a Maltese or a Shih Tzu or a Chihuahua. We're going to be there for something it's an animal, and that's our, that's what we do. So.
She got the call at 2 a.m., correct? About that dog? 2 a.m.
I had a friend call me at 2 a.m. and say animal control was on the way to get the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how can we get it? Because the dog was far down south. And by the afternoon was Father's Day. I had the dog. I called my vet, Dr. Mary Bressman, wonderful lady. And it was Father's Day. Her clinic was closed. She raced down, opened up her shop, and he was being treated. So
the animal control is there to take animals, whatever they are, whether they're raccoons or cats or dogs, and put them into the shelter and get them off the streets, and then
exactly.
The next thing follows. They have to put them out of their misery or whatever they think.
Yes, and I think that's what
was going to happen to Sam.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
So that's great. Now I'm looking at Lulu, and she can hardly stay in your lap. She's having, she's so energetic. She wants to do something. I think she wants to talk on the radio, but we can't get her to bark.
She
looks like she wants to do this.
I think she's getting
gorgeous.
A little antsy.
She is getting antsy. She'd like to get down.
Yeah,
she'd like to get down, and you could do that if you wanted.
Yeah,
but anyway, thank you. I want to tell you that we loved having you both on, and we're gonna do more on this. We're gonna have to get some pictures in Boomer Times of your. Oh, look at this angel! Oh my God, is she precious? She's coming after you, Duff. She's so adorable. Thank you very much for being here with us. And I'm sure we'll talk with you again.
God bless.
Thank you so much.